Welcome back to the Movement is Medicine podcast. Dr. Gene Shirakabrad here with Dr. Megan Weezer. Dr. Corey, my back hurts again. How?
So sad. It's more my butt, not my back. Okay. It's inappropriate.
What the hell?
Which part of that was what the hell?
You shoving the microphone in his mouth.
Okay, I was gonna. There was a very. Moving on. Welcome to the podcast. If you are listening via audio, you just missed this entire thing that you had to have
Stay
seen.
on audio.
But it's probably best that you did not see what just transpired. Corey's dealing with some back pain again, progressing through it. Megan's dealing with some aches and pains too.
Mm-hmm. A lot, actually.
So it certainly happens. But today, with that in mind,
I told a gym member the other day that I was dealing with some back pain stuff.
And they're like, "Are you allowed to have such things?"
Yeah, they were like, "Good," and they're like, "Wait, not good, but it's good to know that it's not just us that goes through these things."
Like you're still a human.
Yeah,
is he?
I'm pretty super, but I'm not quite a superhuman.
Our medical training does not allow us to be humans, Megan. We are beyond human based on the knowledge that we have. Let's talk about
No.
No, I refuse. Let's talk about recovery. We've touched on recovery in different arenas. We talked about it like from a global aspect when we talked about like what is fitness, what is health, that the recovery is an aspect of fitness that you can't just constantly push. You have to pull back because most gains happen when tissues are recovered, when there's restoration that goes to it. What I thought would be interesting to talk about, because this is a topic that comes around very often, and it comes in different forms, but ultimately it's different. Where people come down to is they focus on technique instead of strategies. They go tactics versus strategy. And by tactics, I mean like we've had conversations about stretch stations. We've had conversations about massage guns in the study that we just concluded with hyper ice equipment and leg compression and ice and heat and modalities. And it could be a subset of recovery, but recovery is so poorly understood, and it is almost universally not integrated as part of a strategy for most people. So I thought it'd be good to, on this episode, to talk about some ideal recovery strategies or how to integrate recovery, and maybe some myths and things to avoid that are largely a waste of time and, for lack of a better term, bullshit, that are just a waste of time and money. So let's go after it. I mean, recovery is a big topic, but with that in mind, like what are some of your go-to strategies, you guys, for recovery as part of your overall plan of fitness?
Not recovery from an injury, but recovery from a workout.
Correct. Like just actual
more,
recovery
sleep
as
more,
part of
see
training.
a therapist. End of podcast.
Thank you. And done.
Tune in next week.
When we cover how to train, work out, go home, sleep.
Lift
End of
heavy
podcast.
things.
No, eat more, sleep more, see a therapist.
Physical therapist?
No, mental therapist.
Any therapist?
No,
Any therapist
a
involved?
counselor, a mental health therapist.
For recovery from a workout?
Well, do you mean like recovery in general?
No. We're talking about recovery in training from a fitness aspect.
Okay. Also, still, yeah, because your stress level will. My original statement still stands. Your stress level is going to change how you feel, whether or not you feel recovered or not, in the grand scheme of things.
Okay, that's a big picture thing. Sure.
Nutrition, and sleep, largely, taking out the therapist thing, mitigate the effects of a hard workout, and are truly what gets you ready for something else, not stretching or smashing your muscles.
Okay, so let's get into, again, those are, let's call those macro suggestions. Those are big picture categories of things
Oh
to
yeah,
do.
yeah.
So let's get into a little bit more specific. So your strategy should involve working out.
So are we
right?
saying like
Training.
recovering from a specific like hard workout, like when I drive home from the gym? Do you mean that,
Oh,
or
yeah.
do you just mean overall? What just fun too.
let's go specifically after training first. So you're working out, not just a workout, but overall training regimen or your training program that you're
Like
doing.
day-to-day stuff.
Correct. So you are working out, you are getting into a training program, you're going to the gym, you are whatever you're doing. This is day to day,
Okay.
and some of the
Okay.
strategies that you utilize to make sure that your body is maximizing and benefiting the most from that training program. So what are some of the things that you're doing? And I think I mean those things are good
I was gonna
macro
say, I
things.
think they still
Like those don't change.
no. I'm just gonna state more specific things
Yeah,
now.
go for it.
I go for a walk. Like I take my dog for a nice long walk. Um, I make sure to eat carbs primarily,
What
and
kind of carbs?
what?
What kind of carbs?
You're hungry right now, aren't you?
Any kind of carbs. What
Pop
do you
tarts?
mean? I don't eat Pop Tarts,
Okay.
no, but that would count. It's a
It is a carb.
carbohydrate. Yeah, it would
Okay.
count.
Yep.
Um, and I'm just now getting back into like making sure I'm getting enough protein, partially because of all of my aches and pains, and I feel like my nutrition's playing
Oh,
into it. But
interesting.
um, and I try to make sure I get at least 8 hours of sleep. Oh well, no, at least 7 hours of sleep. At least 7 hours of sleep. Eight doesn't always happen. Yeah,
Okay.
those are the main ones in like the 24 hours after a workout.
What about you?
Walking's a big one. I think we go on walks a lot, Carrie and I. Um, I think walking and moving. I'm one that tends to feel worse when I am stationary for a long time.
Same.
So even just uh, going through some general dynamic movements, like a couple um, hip hinge type things, maybe bend down to the ground and back up. Just little things like that can actually make you feel a little bit better, I think. Um, and sometimes I'll do, not very often, but like um, a recovery row. Like if I know I'm not gonna do another workout that day, but sometimes I'll just not very intense, but go on the rower for a few minutes.
Yeah, I'll hop on the bike every now and then and just kind of like not just move. Like my legs are just going in circles and the
Yeah,
bike is just there,
yeah. I'm not
essentially.
working on trying to
Yeah.
improve my 500-meter time or anything. It's
It's
just
just decompressing.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys like do an assessment, like a mindfulness almost aspect of scanning your body of here's what I worked and trained and asking, am I feeling proportionate to the effort that I put in my training? Like, is my body feeling the way it should based on the type of work that I did? Do you ever ask yourself that question?
Yeah.
No.
Not every day. Like that's not a constant thing, but like the app that I use for programming in our app too, acts acts a- ass.
What?
Okay, you can do it.
I can't talk today. What is going on?
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah. So it asks what the RPE is, and for a moment, I'm kind of like, I don't know. Like, I think I notice it more when I'm like, God, this feels fucking harder than it should today.
Hmm.
Um, I wouldn't say I ask that question every day because more days I feel like pretty equipped and like it was an appropriate effort level for most days, but there are less days where I'm like, oh, I felt heavier than it should have today. And it's probably because I slept like trash or because I haven't eaten a vegetable or I've been really crappy on protein for the last like month. So now
Hmm.
it's hitting me kind of thing.
The reason I ask that is I think what most people have a hard time with recovery is they externalize it instead of internalize it, meaning that they always put recovery on something externally instead of on themselves. It's like
Give an example. What do you
most
mean?
people will not say, I am having aches or pains or I am not feeling great because I didn't sleep great or didn't put together a good night week of sleep or because I didn't um, eat as well or these things. They will say, I need to stretch more. I need to
Yeah.
do this more. So they take it away from themselves. which is the opposite in so many ways. One, it removes the locus of control from internally of saying, I have control over this. But it also subconsciously, for most people, takes away the blame, right? That I didn't do this, but if I did this here, it will be better versus saying I messed up on my sleep or I didn't eat better, which is hard. And I think recovery.
Well, I feel like people also tend to turn it into like a I suck narrative about themselves. Like if I have a bad day, I'm like I don't automatically jump to the conclusion of wow, I'm not fit. I think like I don't know, I do a little audit like, "Oh, I did sleep like crap last night and I had 2 beers or something."
Mhm.
Um,
I think one of the harder things with recovery as well for me is I think of recovery in terms of 48 hours, not 24 hours. So to me, when I'm
well, I think
recovering,
you're always kind of recovering.
but in terms of feel, so let's call it day zero or in day one, because most recovery, at least when you think about it, is when there is a threshold of feel, meaning that if you have a hard workout and you are sore at some point, you have a certain threshold before it
That's
takes over
fair. So it's
your
the
thought
accumulation
process.
of the past probably I'd argue 3 days as opposed to 2 days. Just because all your nutrition is still kind of digesting at that point
Yeah,
anyway,
it
but
could
like
be. I think 48 to 72 hours is fair.
yeah.
If you lump in more practical things like delayed onset muscle soreness, right? That's typically a 48-hour process, and that's
Yeah.
like super specific to workout and training, and from a cellular tissue level, right? Your muscle fibers actually um, healing up again and training or recovering and building back up. So that takes a lot of energy. But that's the other piece of it. This is an energy formula, right? Recovery is largely balancing an energy formula for your body that you utilize energy and then you have to, for lack of a better analogy, is you have to recharge that iPhone battery. Like
Recharge.
recharge. My favorite, one of
Oh,
my
you can't see
favorite,
it. Never
no, they
mind.
can't see it, but they can see it on your shirt.
And yours.
Yep, and mine. And you just have a big R. One of my favorite analogies that I talk to people about with recovery. What is analogy a fun word?
No, I'm just back on like, oh, we were just playing like I Spy with freaking
Yeah,
recharge
There's one
logos.
there, one there,
yeah,
one
Yeah,
there,
one here, one
yeah.
there, one there.
one there.
I'm pretty sure I pointed at his nipple.
Yeah.
Um, the
Anyway,
one of my favorite analogies. That time it was your fault.
I
That
know.
that was on you.
I'm not.
No, no, you drop kicked the
I feel like
hamster.
every time I say get the hamster back on the
Yeah,
wheel, it's like 5 times out of 10, it's also my fault. I'm the one who kicked the hamster off the wheel.
that's half the time. That's fair. Yeah, that time not only did you kick the hamster, you drop kicked him right in his hamster face. My favorite analogy for recovery is like an iPhone battery that if you charge it every night, the next day it's still going to get used up, but some things are more energy intensive. Like if you're watching videos, that drains the battery a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Um,
listening
Background
to our
apps.
podcast.
well, that does take a lot of many things to listen to our podcast. Um, but you have to recharge that battery. Pun fully intended. Yes, recharge. We get it. But you have to do something. Stop showing off your nipples. We get it.
You guys listening and not watching on YouTube really need to tune into the video
The
section.
video one,
Yep.
yeah. I guess that's kind of weird if I just keep saying nipples all the time and they are listening. But most people don't plug their iPhone back in to stick with that analogy, right? They don't see it that way. So they're constantly draining until that battery runs on zero. Or for most people, it's not zero, it's the low battery warning turns
Mm-hmm.
on.
The 10%.
And that low
Or the
battery warning
20%.
is aches and pains or the just feeling super fatigued and malaise. Something your body comes back at you with and you go, nope, shut the hell up, body. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. And then something happens and they're like, why did I get hurt? Or why did I fall asleep while driving my car? I don't understand. I'm
Or
doing
why did
everything
I
I
get
usually
snippy
do.
with everyone I spoke with today?
Yeah, and they don't pick up on that warning sign, which is largely a recovery issue, because you're just completely ignoring how much you're draining that battery, and you're not doing anything to plug back in and recharge it. So I think that this is, I hope, the big takeaway from this podcast and us talking about it is I hope people, one, take stock of how important it is, but also start to create a strategy around and focus proactively on recovery instead of something coming on or that 10% warning coming on. They're going, oh shit, maybe I should sleep, or maybe I should put a vegetable inside my body.
Through your mouth.
Through your mouth. Yes, thank you. We're both on the same page there.
Oh.
But I guess, I mean, nutrients go in.
Ah!
We're going to get canceled.
I quit.
I was thinking NG tube or through a stomach or something.
I'm quitting.
Taking like vegetable oil and putting it right in your eyeball.
Eyeballs. You
Yeah.
know, there was a phase where people would drink alcohol that way.
Through their eyeballs?
Because they would get drunk quicker because it goes right into their bloodstream. Yeah. 10 out of 10, don't recommend. Don't do that if you're watching or listening.
I'm pretty sure like back in the day, beer used to be drank like rather than water, like all throughout the day because
it was cleaner.
Yeah, it was cleaner. The fermentation process made it cleaner than the water, so they just drank beer all the time.
Yep. Back in the olden days. Absolutely. Is beer part of recovery?
Yeah, what do you think is in this water bottle?
I was thinking some kind of vodka cocktail. Based on how you're acting today, I was going whiskey.
It's a vodka Red Bull.
For sure there's a name for that.
I don't think I want to see Megan with vodka Red Bulls. She has too much energy already.
I think she'd go the other way. She's a very happy drunk.
Yeah.
I'm a very happy drunk. Yeah,
Yeah, but imagine
I'm a
plus a
giggly
Red
drunk.
Bull.
Well, we'll find out. What's today? Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday night class. Here we go.
Like, what? I do have to drive home after, so.
It's retest week. You'll be fine.
Just sleep here. You coach in the morning, right?
I do, but no.
The couch is comfortable.
It is a very comfy couch.
Mhm.
Yeah, shockingly comfy. Sleeping. How stringent are you guys with your sleep?
Pretty stringent. I'm a sleep Nazi.
Shouldn't be a Nazi anything, but I get it.
That's bad. We're getting canceled twice now.
Putting vegetables in orifices, saying Nazi.
Maybe not a Nazi, but like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, you're going on the point where you're going to get like 7.5, soon 7 hours. Okay, go to sleep now.
Mm-hmm.
That's like my absolute limit. Absolute limit. I
Can you
usually,
fall asleep,
last night
though?
I got like 9 hours. What?
Can you fall asleep like on those days where you're like, I got to go to bed now, or else I'm not gonna get I'm not gonna get more than 7 hours? Can you fall asleep right then? Or?
Usually I'm not right then and there, but even so, like even including the amount of time where it would take me to fall asleep, like I still get probably 7+ hours regularly.
I had a hard time falling asleep before I started coaching more mornings.
I take melatonin
Do you?
every now and then,
Yeah.
like 1 milligram. Like that's enough to like just knock me out and keep me asleep.
Mm-hmm. I've done it a few times, but I played around with too much. Like I didn't know, and I just grabbed.
You slept for 3 days?
Yeah. No.
Has anyone seen Corey?
It came in 5 milligram pills, and 5 milligrams was like I would fall asleep, but then I would wake up in like 4
Yes.
hours and just
Yep.
be awake. Like,
That
well,
was
this is
my
it. I guess
issue.
I'm up at 2 o'clock.
I have gummies.
Special ones.
Yeah.
No, I have melatonin gummies. And they say to take 2, and it ends up being like 3 milligrams. But when I had the same thing. When I
Mhm.
took 3, I would like knock the fuck out, but then I'd wake up in the middle of the night. But I
Yeah.
figured out if I took half the dosage, I could fall asleep and like stay asleep.
Nice.
But I don't take it every night. It's usually
Yeah.
just on the nights where like I'm like, okay, I gotta lay down, but there's no way I'm gonna be tired. So
Sure.
I'll take it like 30 minutes to 60 minutes before I lay down. So.
But now I've been getting tired at like 8 o'clock. Like
Mm-hmm.
my wife Carrie, she calls me Larry now because my dad's name is Larry, and he worked first shift forever. So now he goes to bed at like 6:30. It'll be
6:30?
I might be exaggerating a little bit, but
Let us know, Larry. Confirm once you listen or hear.
he'll start yawning at like 6 or 6:30, and we're like, all right, it's getting late.
Oh my
Larry's got to
God.
go to bed. He goes to bed at like 7, and then wakes up at 4, and
I have a small tangent on that. Erica. You guys know Erica.
Mhm.
Shout out Erica.
she brought us donuts once.
Well, that was for me.
Yeah, it was for me.
I was
Well,
having
Gene
a
and I
bad
ate
day.
But she did
donuts.
say it's for all of us,
Yeah.
to be fair.
Well,
Yeah.
that's true. She
I
brought
think
me
she
a bubble
felt bad
tea.
Yeah.
that we were here.
Yeah.
I couldn't have eaten them on my own though, but
Yeah.
that's because I was having a bad day. Get you a friend who brings you donuts on a bad day.
It's true. It's
Um,
true.
but I
Donuts are
texted
carbs?
her. They are carbs. I messaged her. Somebody sent me this reel of like these dudes going on a boys trip. This is semi irrelevant, and it's like boys trips versus in their 20s versus in their 30s. And it's funny going back and forth because like the 20s they're just like drinking and yelling and partying and whatnot, and one of them didn't pack clothes or whatever. And then in the 30s, it's like, oh, what kind of stroller is that? Can you run with it? And it's like other stuff. And they have like a heating pad in the ride home and like Bengay and like a Theragun and whatnot. And I sent this to Erica and she goes, it's funny you sent me this because I just got back from a walk with Gavin, her boyfriend, and I got into bed. It is 7:15 p.m. that she texted me this. I got into bed with a heating pad and I just mentioned to him, I think I need orthotics. I said, you are 99 years old.
Yep.
She said, I have a glass of wine. Does that help? I said, you just lost 20 years off your life.
Yeah. Comfort. The comfort of age. Yeah, sleep is, I think, again, in part of the theme here of strategy, it's having a plan and consistency, right? That comes back to kind of homeostasis of the body, that the body will thrive when you give it some consistency with certain things, right? You also need
Yeah.
to give it the opposite when you're talking about
Variety.
load and training. But sleep and sleep hygiene is a very big topic, and it's more so over the last 5 years or so, I think. But what's I think ironic about sleep more than anything else is that it's inevitable, right? Like there's really
What do you mean? Like
interesting.
you're going to fall asleep?
You have to sleep.
Oh,
You don't have to work out.
that's true. You have to sleep.
You have to sleep. Even eating
You
and
also have to
drinking,
eat.
but to an extent, right? You can go a month without eating
What?
and still be
Yeah,
alive.
you've heard of like the
Like
fasting
naked and
protests
afraid.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
you can go a
things.
month without eating. You can go a couple days without
Gandhi
water.
went like 44 days without eating or
Yeah,
something.
you can go
Okay,
a long
I couldn't
time.
go that long.
You can go a long time without eating and not die. You will go insane, 100%.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not good for you. Don't do this.
Yeah. We're saying you could,
Can.
but if you go without sleep, it will kill you. Like you can't avoid sleep.
Mhm.
So it is inevitable. But it's the ironic part of all this is most of us take the least amount of time being concerned about sleep.
Yeah.
Right? We
It's
just
the first thing to go by the wayside. I
put
feel
it-
like
exactly.
that and the gym.
But we already talked about the gym could be a waste of time in the previous episode, so you can look that up.
Even if they're wasting their time in the gym, it's not a waste of time. They're still moving.
True. Again, we
Walk
talked
from
about
the
this
parking lot to the gym and
In
then
the-
watch the TV at the gym.
Okay.
But that's
while
okay.
walking 1.5 miles an hour on the
Sure.
treadmill when the health benefit is 3 miles an hour.
I saw a guy standing on the treadmill like this. So the treadmill was moving beneath his feet, and he was standing on the sides, and he was doing a Sudoku puzzle.
Are you serious?
Wasn't walking at all. I like to think his wife like forces him to go to the gym, and he's
Yeah.
like, "I'll show her. I just won't even do it."
But why even turn?
I don't know.
So you can jump on once in a while.
Yeah.
But the point is, sleep is underlooked at, and it should be part of an overall strategy. But because there's a lot of challenges, kids obviously can be a challenge. Kids are the worst. Kids make things harder. They're cute. God bless them. We love them, but they can make things more challenging. But sleep, if people create a strategy for sleep for themselves and started to be consistent with it, the recommendations for sleep is 7 to 9 hours. So you have a pretty decent range of sleep. What is interesting, though, that it becomes a health hindrance under 7 and more than 9.
Yeah, I
So it
did
goes
know that
both
too,
ways,
yeah.
which is kind of interesting, right? If you sleep too much, your system starts to use energy that it doesn't have because you have this window to recharge when you're sleeping. But going
Somebody
deeper.
count how many times we've said recharge this podcast.
And take
Put
a
it-
shot.
Yep. Oh, wow.
Oh,
okay.
God. Oh, God. No,
gonna
don't do
say,
that.
Let us know in the comments. But
You're just going to see like random
Yeah.
letters in the guy. Oh, you recharge.
I'm just trying to make it fun.
You mentioned consistency though.
Mhm.
It's not just consistently getting 7 hours. It's consistently going to bed around the same time and getting up at the same time to help maximize or optimize your sleeping habits. And I think that's what helped me start to become tired more at night was I started waking up at the same time and then going to bed at the same time, and just that made it so now I get a little bit better sleep rather than staying up until 11 some nights and then 9 the others, but still, getting up at 9 sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah.
The consistency
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, that's a big part of sleep hygiene is um, staying consistent because where people struggle is obviously the weekends or if they work non-traditional work schedules where they work like they have off Tuesday, Wednesday, or they have off Tuesday and Friday, something like that,
Mm.
and then they sleep in on those days, then it throws the week off for them and their sleep hygiene because it's hard to come to a pattern like that. Obviously, our bodies do better, and the research has shown this of waking up when the sun rises and having natural light naturally wake us up. So if you can plan around that, that's traditionally ideal. But it's also important to bring it back to recovery and training is that you can bump up sleep a little bit to make up for the energy that you used in training or if you're not feeling great, right? Sometimes our body just becomes naturally groggy and tired and you're kind of it's like screaming at you, dude, just go lie down. You need your sleep, you need your rest. So you can bump up by 30 minutes or so. What's interesting though is like do you obviously you guys set alarms.
Yeah,
Yeah,
have to. Are you
I set
kidding?
like 3, but not because I sleep through them, but because sometimes the Apple Watch doesn't vibrate
Yeah.
to wake me up, and I've done that before. Like when I coach at 6 a.m., I'm paranoid that I'm gonna sleep through the class, so
Mm.
I'll set.
I honestly knock on freaking. Is that wood? Knock on that.
Sure, it looks like wood.
Uh,
Did you hear that?
He just gave himself a mild concussion.
oh, this is wood. I'm so surprised that has not happened yet.
Overslept.
Like one of us has slept through.
There was that one
Then
day when you locked yourself
I
out of your
locked myself
apartment.
out, and I
Yeah.
wasn't even in Baltimore at the time.
Yeah, it was a mile down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Not for you, but for us.
I didn't have keys or anything. Like otherwise, I would have just like
Oh, and
fucking ran
Mark was
there.
in Baltimore
But Mark
the
was in
time.
Baltimore
Yeah.
at the time, so he has to drive from Baltimore to let me in.
It'd be funny if he text him now when he's in Germany. Mark, I forgot my keys.
I don't live with him anymore.
I know, but it'd
Yeah.
still be funny.
Oh.
Just for old time's sake.
But I have slept through it once, but not through class. Like I woke up at 5:30 instead of 4:30, and
Why do you wake up at
freaked out.
4:30?
I like to wake up at home.
That's when I wake up, and I live 30 minutes away.
Corey lives 5 minutes from
I live half a
Reach.
mile from here.
No, he lives like 90 seconds from Reach.
Yeah, it takes me 2 minutes on my scooter to get
Trying to give
home
him
to work.
benefit of the doubt.
No,
but-
I like to wake up early, and I'd rather wake up at home and come to work awake than wake up as I'm coaching, because I feel like I do a better job of starting people's day off by not being groggy. So anyway, I get up
Mhm.
at 4:30, I drink a cup of coffee, and I
Morning poop.
relax for a little bit, and that helps.
Do you call that? Is that your morning poop? I relax for a little bit. That's no. Everybody's thinking it. Don't shake your heads at me like everyone listening and watching isn't thinking about it.
No one was thinking about that.
Okay, must be just me then.
And now I'll set my lineup for fantasy
Yes.
football. Yeah.
Tinker. That's a league shout out. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Don't look at me like that. You don't know. Two things that I've been doing that have made getting up easy because I have, for me, sleep has always been easy. It's one of my
Cool.
superpowers. I can close my eyes and be asleep at any time. But
It's because he drinks 3 pots of coffee in a day, and his body like reverts back to I don't know what to do, so I need to shut down.
I drink 3 to 5 cups of coffee, which is what research shows is not a hindrance.
Bullshit.
I will show you.
I think you used to drink more when we
did used to
we'd
drink
fill
more.
the pot,
Yeah.
but now that we have Nespresso and
Yeah.
K-cups, it's
Was it
probably
the
less.
bullshit that how many cups of coffee or how many cups of coffee I drink?
No, how many cups of coffee that show that the
Yeah,
research?
Five,
brought?
Oh, yeah.
5 cups of coffee is the
What does that show? Because I limit myself to 2.
no. After 5 cups, that's when caffeine could have.
But they consider cups as 8 ounces. Yeah.
correct.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard 300 to 500 milligrams can be beneficial,
Yeah,
which
Okay.
is a
Which
500
is
is a lot.
probably about what I'm
because it's about
getting.
100
Yeah.
milligrams,
Per cup.
120 milligrams per 8-ounce cup. Yeah.
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 What I found beneficial to me in terms of waking up, right? Because that's what usually sucks for most people is that groggy feeling like you still want to sleep, and that's usually because you're still in a REM sleep or in a deep sleep. So waking from that sucks. But I found two things. One is we have lights, like the automated lights that turn on in a gradual progression.
Mm.
And I took away audio alarms. So all my alarms like are on my
Mhm.
wrist. So it's
Oh,
like a
nope.
gentle vibrate.
Mine's like.
Yeah, I don't like those.
No. And it's been amazingly better for how I feel when I wake up. The light plus the gentle vibration versus
Mhm.
sound just jarring you
No, I do the sound.
has made it a lot better.
This is gonna sound really bougie, but have I told you guys about our mattress cover?
Nope.
No?
No.
I might have mentioned it. It's called 8 Sleep.
To be fair, if you did, I
What the
probably
fuck?
did not
Aren't those
listen
like
to it.
$3,000?
I said it sounds bougie, okay? Just let me
Explain.
I don't think it's 3,000, but
I looked into
it's-
it.
Wait, what is it called? 8 sleep?
8 Sleep. Yeah. My guess is
A sleep or 8
the
like the
number.
number?
EIGHT.
My guess is like 8 hours of sleep is why they came up with it.
Did you say EGHT?
EIGHT.
E-I-E-I-O. Anyway,
Egate.
the mattress cover,
I'm worried about her today. I'm starting to get concerned.
You're the one who keeps misinterpreting everything I'm saying. I'm saying it correctly. You're the one I'm worried about.
Okay, we have audio
Tune
and
in
video
next week for my
evidence.
story.
All right, go on. 8 sleep.
No, 8 Sleep. It's a mattress cover where
That's $3,000.
cold or warm water cycles through it
Does that make you pee?
to keep your body temperature down.
Okay.
So optimal, according to research, room temperature for sleep is 64 degrees, which is very cold to try to keep your house at in the summertime, especially.
Yep.
So this mattress pad cycles cold water underneath you, and it makes you cold. But in that, you can set it to different settings. But my point is, in the morning, throughout the night, we should be coldest at night, and then we like gradually warm back up. You're looking up the price, aren't you?
Fact check, real time.
The 8 Sleep, you can set a range for when you want to wake up between a 30-minute window, and it starts to cycle warmer water, and it slowly wakes you up with warm water, so you wake up at the point where you're not at deep sleep anymore. You just finished a REM cycle, and you wake up a lot less groggy. It's really nice. That's
Does it
been
make
really
noise?
helpful.
Like, do you actually hear the water whooshing?
It's very quiet, and no, very quiet. There's something else I was going to say too. Oh, it can vibrate.
To wake you up?
Yep, the mattress pad, one side or the other can vibrate. Cool. And it's quiet enough and not powerful enough that it shouldn't wake your sleeping companion. Yeah.
Interesting.
$2,245. That's on sale.
Wow. That's an investment.
There's an end of a summer sale though, $100 off.
All right. That is an investment.
They do have payment plans.
8 Sleep, if you're listening, we can be sponsored by you because you're a product that I support.
Oh wait, the cheapest one is $1,800.
See, not 3,000.
Okay. All
That's
right.
a lot of money. I sleep just fine.
We're investing in our health and our recovery by sleeping well.
No, I'm not judging that at all.
Yeah, I think what that comes down to is
I just cannot justify that right now.
what people do oftentimes, which was my original point, right, is they spend money on things that Carrie.
The ghost? Oh.
She was wearing white, I guess. People spend money on that. But that's kind of the border between the two, right? You want to sleep better, and you're trying to do something, and when you can't sleep, you try to figure it out. And I think it's along the same lines of when people don't feel good, they will spend money on other things to make themselves feel good instead of looking at what the evidence shows and look at the strategies first. That's not the same thing because you're trying to sleep better. So you want to sleep better and you're looking for ways to do that.
Worth the investment. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, but the people that could be working out, or could be moving a little bit more, or could be
Who aren't
eating.
already checking all of like the low hanging fruit
Yeah.
boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, they're low, but they're hard from a behavioral science standpoint, right? Yes, you can go to Chick-fil-A because it's easier and convenient than meal prepping the night before, and it tastes better, and it's just,
And they're so nice there.
they're very nice.
My pleasure.
Look, we go to Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is great. I'm not saying that. I'm saying is, what do you do most of the time, not sometimes? And most of the time is what determines your recovery. And most of the time, people do not take recovery as a part of strategy. They just revert to dealing with it as a reactive means. I have this, so let me try to figure it out. Then the first, second, and third line of defense is, let me sign up for a stretch station, or let me pay money to try this, or let me try this tactic, and it doesn't work. And then it becomes a feeling of hopelessness, which it shouldn't be. So nutrition is obviously the next big one we need to talk about, but I think we need to leave nutrition and eating as its own separate beast.
Yeah, I
to
need help. I
dive
had
into.
Cocoa Puffs for dinner last night, so
Oh,
it turned your milk chocolatey good.
it turns other things and different things inside of you that not as nice.
Oh, Nelly.
All right. Well, that's it for this episode. Let us know about your recovery strategies. Like, what do you do when you're not feeling great? And do you audit if you have been building up to not feeling great? Have you asked yourself what's sleep been like? What have you been eating like? How has stress management been doing? Have you been exercising? Like, do you look at all those variables before you go, oh, my back hurts, or oh, I feel super tired, or I'm getting snippy at people and things like that. Let us know what you think
Am I
and how
getting
you deal with it.
snippy?
No, you said it
You
earlier.
said it. Am I getting snippy? Did I say something?
No, you pointed at me when you said that.
Yeah. It's like that scene from Goodfellas, like number one, Joe
I've never seen it.
where he's like
No.
a mobster, and the guy says, "Oh, that's funny," and he goes, "Oh, I'm funny, I'm funny, like a clown funny, like a ha ha," and then he like hits his head on the table.
Had to be there.
Let's kind of imagine you and then going Jersey.
Nelly
I'm
girl.
snippy now. I'm snippy now. Come here, let me show you snippy.
As she grabs scissors.
Yeah.
So you
Snip
snip.
your ear hole.
Aw, Nelly
All right. On that
girl.
positive note, thanks for listening to the Movement is Medicine podcast. Go ahead, subscribe on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Audible. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube to not miss any of these marathon 40-minute. I don't know if anybody would ever watch 40-minute. I guess if they're like cooking or put it on somewhere.
Yeah, I would
Larry
never
will.
put this on
Hi,
in,
Larry.
Larry will.
in a video format.
Yeah. People act like, for the few that we've done, people watch. The people that do watch, I watched a lot of them. All right. We'll catch you again on the next episode of Movement is Medicine podcast from Recharge.